Hello Jeep pedants and welcome to the Green Dot 319 Jeep pedantry channel, or should that be purgatory channel? Because guys, at the moment I'm £3,000 lighter after paying for the work having been done on my Jeep tub, which I'm really excited about, and it's coming next Tuesday, okay? So we're going to look at this next week, hopefully on the next Friday. We can do a whole walk around of it and have a look at the work at it and have a look at ACM1 tubs. But today we're just going to look at some quick bits on it and just some quick photos because I'm not going to ruin it for everybody. But if we look here, guys, this is my ACM1 tub, which has been completed by Barry Ring at Whitedell Engineering. Couple of bits on there, which some of you may be able to spot, which just aren't completed yet as well. Obviously not painted up in olive drab yet, but this is how it's going to look, and this is what we've got coming to us. And if you compare it to how it was, this is quite impressive, really. Okay, it's a lot of money. It's you know, it is more than what a repro tub would cost. I reckon we've got about 75%, 85% of original metal staying on it, which is really good. It compares pretty similarly to my old GPW tub, kept more metal in some ways on it. So it's really nice. I think it's going to be a really good Jeep, guys. So we'll look at that next week when that comes through. But just these little photos here, just give you a quick idea of what we're looking at. So really pleased with that, guys. So stay tuned for that. So the next thing we're going to look at, guys, is something that some of you might think is a little bit picky. Now, don't get me wrong here, okay? I could never create something as good as these repro guys have done. You know, these things look the part. They mostly work. They're, you know, for all intents and purposes, they're great. They're not making them for a military contract so that they have to work perfectly. You know, it's as long as they look okay and work okay, that's fine. But, you know, if we're talking about making a really nice Jeep, you know, and you want something good, but you don't want to use originals, you want to use repros, well, you know, you can mix and match some original parts with repro parts to make something better. And that's what we're going to look at here, okay, guys? So don't be too harsh with the judgment here. You know, I am being picky about it. I'm not slagging these reproductions off. You know, they're very good. If you don't replace the bits in it that I talk about, that's fine. You know, that they are good items. But for those of you who are interested in this sort of thing, you can go one step further. You can make them better and not a huge amount of cost. So yeah, here it is, guys. Let's have a look at this then. And this is improving some repro bits that I've just noticed. It's something some of you might find quite interesting. Right, guys, those of you who get this will get this, and those of you who don't will think you've lost your mind, okay? But I think, guys, the devil's in the details when it comes to Jeeps and finishing them off, okay? And somebody once told me the most important parts of the Jeep are the gauges and the data plates, because that's the first thing that people look at. Well, I think that's true. The other thing as well is reflectors and bezels and making sure they're correct. Now, I'm not going to be using original bezels on my MB because they're quite expensive and difficult to get hold of at the moment. So I'm going to be using reproduction ones like the one on the left there, okay? But I've noticed a problem with the reproductions now. This is this is where we start getting really into details here, guys. Okay, so when you get your Jeep, your original Jeep, you'll get original reflectors in it like these ones usually. They're all bleached out by the sun and you can't use them anymore really because they're white now, they're not red, and you can't dye them, I don't think. The red is integral to the plastic, and once it's bleached, that's it, okay? So sadly, these are unusable. But you can get hold of the reproductions, guys. And when you get hold of a reproduction, you can remove the center from it. So if I just spin this one over, this is what this one looks like. Has a metal bit in the center and then an outer bezel with a lens in it, okay? So if you put it around a piece of pipe like that, so it supports the outer bezel, put another piece of plastic pipe in the center here, and then whack it down like this. It pushes out the rear portion with the metal, and you get the reflector out, guys. So you've got a bezel, empty bezel, and a reflector, and a backing plate, okay? And this is the repro one here, okay? Here's your backing plate. The originals have a piece of rubber, which goes around here as a seal. Here's the reproduction. So let's put the reproduction next to the originals. So, right guys, you can start to see what I'm getting at here. The reproduction is very good and looks nice, but it doesn't reflect like the originals, okay? Which is actually important because these are kind of safety related because the lights are not great on a Jeep. So when you're driving around, you do want as much reflectivity as possible. And you can see it just, you know, it looks good. Everything's mostly correct. All the markings, grout light and everything like that, they're on there. But you can just see the light shining off it, how different they look. It just isn't reflecting right, guys. And it wouldn't look right for me. I would be able to notice it. Now that I know about it, I would notice it and it would annoy me, okay? So I'm going to be replacing, using the original, or should I say, using these reproduction bezels, because the original bezels are difficult to get hold of and very expensive. But I'll be replacing the lenses, okay? And these lenses down here, these ones, are all post-war ones. They may be original stock, but they're post-war bezels, okay? Interesting little thing to note is how they changed them over the years. This one is like a World War II one, has a metal backing on it with the lens inside it, okay? And then this one is a slightly different type. What they did is they, originally in World War II, they've got no backing on them. Look, I can rub the back inside it there, right? But what they did is they got rid of the metal bit and they put a plastic bit in the middle of these now. So there you go, it's sealed with this plastic bit and they just put some tabs on it. So that's a post-war one there. But the front is totally identical. Could be World War II stock even, I don't know. And then later they changed it even more slightly and they just put little tabs on it instead. So these are post-war ones. You can use them in your original bezels or your reproduction bezels. They're identical to World War II ones. You will never be able to tell. They could be World War II stock, I don't know. But as you can see, that's the problem there. They just don't reflect. They look pretty good. Most people probably wouldn't know, but if you're trying to go for the real details, trying to make a really nice Jeep, it's just a nice little thing to change. These didn't cost too much. People are selling them on eBay for huge amounts of money, but you can get hold of them quite cheaply. So, you know, put your bit of rubber in there, put your original World War II bezel in there, then you got a nice reflecty bezel as opposed to a non-reflecty one. So that's just another little detail, guys, there. If you want to do that, go for it.